Hey guys, my name is JessiMew, and welcome back to Adam's Quest. In the last episode, our tribe finally escaped from the long winter, so no more snow for us. They found themselves on a much warmer island now, and this is actually known as the Crossing Island. So literally the only thing left in our future is to come on over here to these ports and sail off for Adam's home island. We're about halfway through this island right now, and Lark is actually out here heading the charge. She's doing a little bit more exploring in the darkness. Also to look for berry bushes though, because she has noticed that their resident grump Nuke here really seems to enjoy these things. They really seem to make his day, because they help cool him down with that awful heat body of his. Now that he doesn't have the snow to keep him cool, he is struggling a little bit to get around. And he's struggling with his other responsibilities too, as he babysits for Storm. But we decided to take a little bit of a breather here, just so we could start on the next generation, because they're going to be the ones to finish this journey. So we needed a proper ambassador for Adam's family, and little Kier Neuro here is basically the dream. He has the poison fangs, the stripes, so all of the things that mark him as one of Adam's heirs, but he also has the bird genetics, which almost makes his coming to the home island rather poetic. The first Adam was taken away by the bluebird, and now this little guy right here has the power to take the bluebirds out of the skies. So nobody in Adam's family is ever going to have to worry about them again. But because of his striking resemblance to the original Adam, a lot of you said that we should change his name to Adam II. So I think that is exactly what we're going to do. It's too fitting not to go with it, so Adam II it is. I guess that'll be a good way to prove that you know the original Adam too. It kind of makes me wonder if his family is even going to remember his story. Like, of course, our tribe remembers Adam because he founded this whole family. But what must the other side think? Perhaps him going missing just struck up a fear of the bluebirds in general, so our return is going to be a very, very good sign to them. Now, Adam's mother is just about to have another baby too. We're actually hoping that this new little brother or sister of his is going to be able to go with him to the new island too. A little bit of extra company. Quite a few of the creatures that we have on this island are actually going to be passing away soon. Particularly Ash. She's actually on the last 3 of her days. So we need to make sure that the next generation is young and ready and prepared. Now, since Lark did manage to find one of the berry bushes, this might actually be your chance to escape Nuke. She would surely be calling you by now, so maybe as Storm tries his best to get this grumpy old elder to play with him, he'll just gently push him aside and scoot on off into the grasses. Because duty calls, you have to follow your tribe when they call you, don't you know? So maybe his reason for leaving is a little bit selfish, but I think this is going to be a real eye-opener for him. Nuke still doesn't really understand this whole tribe business. He was always on his own in the mountain, so he doesn't really know a whole lot about sharing and whatnot. But here's Lark just trying to find something that would truly make him happy. So that has to be a little bit stunning for him. Like, she literally came out here in the darkness just to find one of his very favorite snacks, just something to make him a little bit more comfortable. So I wonder if he would try to find a way to, I guess, appease her too. Something that she likes. Though Lark is a little bit different. She doesn't really have any true connections to objects of the earth. Hers are more about just being with her family, protecting those she loves with her purse now. So it's not really a physical thing that he can find out here in the darkness. He'll have to try his best though. Maybe he'll have to guess, try pawing up at those roots, or maybe even going after the bunnies. I mean, he's not going to be very good at catching them. He would probably just end up looking very, very clumsy. His heat body isn't doing him any favors, and he only has the antlers to give him strength. So it would take a few swipes to actually take the bunny down. But I'm sure that Lark would probably appreciate that. She does seem to like bunny meat anyway. They had a little taste of it over on the previous island when the bunnies finally returned. So maybe that would be a good thing for you to attempt. A good first try for Nuke. And poor Storm, you must be feeling so lost and abandoned right now. He really seemed to like Nuke, even though Nuke didn't want to spend too much time with him. He just strikes me as somebody who's really not good with kids. So I wonder if maybe Storm would still toddle off in his direction? I mean, he's probably getting tired of watching his mother splash around in the waves. Trying to crack open these shells over here. Oh, you actually got one! Ah, excellent, Winterberry. It looks like you have a few more skills after all. I mean, we could always take her deeper into the water. I'm sure she would love it. But I think she would probably do better coming back here to find some roots for her family. We know that there are plenty out here for her to dig up. So I suppose she's probably going to be on your trail sooner rather than later anyways. We'll bring you all the way up here. And that sets you up right next to our little ambassador too, Adam II. You know, you two would probably make some pretty good friends. Not only are you very similar in age, but I guess you're going to be taking the journey together anyways, so you two should probably get to know each other. We'll have you clear out some of the grasses around here too, living up to your namesake maybe. You know, Storm does strike me as somebody who would probably tear scars across the earth. He would tear every last one of these grass tufts right out of the ground, if just to make a safe pathway for Adam to use as he flies. But he also strikes me as somebody who could get easily distracted, so once they do find a few of those roots, it's probably all up in the air from there. He is going to dig up the roots first. So we should be ready to skip the day, and that means we're ready to see what Ash's next baby is going to look like. Perhaps they'll be just as grand as Adam II? Oh my goodness. Almost a carbon copy. Just a little bit different fur, and unfortunately he's actually missing the stripes. That's a little bit surprising, actually. I figured for sure the stripes would be a dominant trait in their family, but it looks like you're kind of taking after the oracles a little bit more instead. He does have the antennas in his inactive traits too, just like Adam II. So while they're buried deep inside their genetics, it's not something that he can use to hear the ancestors. That must just be tearing poor Ash apart. Like her mind right now is probably like an empty, hollow room, where she once heard the whispers of the ancestors all the time, leading her in the right direction. Now that their mission is over, they don't really have a reason to communicate with her anymore, so that connection is slowly fading away. But there's always a chance that maybe the Earth Mother, or one of their other ancestors will need them in the future, and then I'm sure those antennas are going to pop up again. So as far as this baby goes, we should probably give him a good bird name too, and I think this little guy is going to be the goldfinch that I was longing for before. I guess it kind of fits with the Strength of the Sun theme, if he does have a little bit of the oracle's blood in him, maybe a little bit more menacing than your typical songbird. But I don't know, goldfinches are usually pretty aggressive, at least when I see them, so I guess it would fit nonetheless. Now, Goldfinch, you'll be staying back here with your mother, because I think it's about time for Falcon to take Adam II on his first flying journey. You have your second gem now, so you should be ready to soar. I suppose we could bring you two all the way back here. You could do a little bit of snooping around with Lark and Nuke here, and that might actually light up a bit more of this land too, so maybe it'll be easier for you to find something to impress Lark with. Yeah, let's have Falcon dive off right next to his sister, because Adam should be able to get all the way up here too. Then you all can just play leapfrog through the grass, but you'll have to make sure that you're clearing out the pathway. In fact, Storm, that may have just been left up to you. Let's have you go ahead and pick up this grass, because that shouldn't grow back. It looks like this one right here will keep growing and growing again, and it's only going to make it harder for you to figure out where everybody is. Oh, and Nuke here. Oh, it looks like your berry bushes may have been affected by a drought. Interesting. Do you think maybe Vankir just figures that we're going to move on? So there's no reason for him to give us any extra rains. He wants to push us ahead so we'll get to Adam's Island faster. And you know, along those same lines, I do feel like we should try to breed the nimble fingers into one of our babies, just because it would be easier for us to collect food that way. Then we would be able to focus on the acorns and the coconuts. And I don't really know what we're going to find on Adam's Island, so we have to be prepared. We need to make sure we have a few ways to restore our food. So I guess your plan of going after the bunnies may have been a good one after all, Nuke. If the berries are getting more and more scarce, you're going to need other sources as well. So let's have you tiptoe your way around this berry bush. We'll bring you right over here so you can sniff a little bit further into the grasses. There we go, looks like one of the bunnies is over there, though I'm sure that's not the one that you saw before. Maybe the other one is down here by the shores, actually. And you know, I suppose a lark could always light up the way for you. I know you wanted to do this by yourself, but it seems like you are going to need a little bit of help. Oh, actually, she should set up right on top of this palm tree. That would basically light up everything in the area, so if there is a little bunny skittering around out here, she is going to find it with no troubles. Oh, and even found a little permanent nest, too. That's awfully lucky. I wonder if that's a sign that she's also considering maybe settling down. I mean, especially now that she just saw her little nephew. She probably wants to have a few kids of her own before her time passes. Now, before we go any further with you, let's make sure that we're bringing Winterberry out of the water, because I think it's about time that you rejoined your tribe mates. We'll leave the nest on the shores, return all of that algae to Splash perhaps, and we'll have her scoot her way up here, searching for roots as she goes. I guess she can pass by and say hello to little Goldfinch too, though Ash is going to be the one who stays next to him. She could pack away the nest right underneath his feet, and perhaps, Winterberry, you could find a little bit of food to feed your sister. She's going to need some help if she's stuck here after all. I kind of feel like she wouldn't have it in her to move very far anyways. With only 2 days remaining on her lifespan, she must be feeling very weary. And aside from that, this whole oracle business is really dragging her down. So we'll just let her stay right there in between all of her family members. And you know, Storm, with that digging paw of yours, you could probably do a little bit of digging too. Maybe it's finally time that you and your mother bonded a little bit. He had absolutely no interest in the ocean down here, but he can do some digging with her for sure. So Falcon, go ahead and clear out the extra grasses for us so nobody gets too lost. I guess we should probably have Adam II do the same. Make sure everybody can make their way down to the shores, because it seems like we're kind of veering off in this direction. But it'll still be pretty easy for us to get to the ports from here. Maybe even easier than cutting through the grass itself. So we should be ready to skip the day again. I see that bunny is still back there stealing each and every last one of those berries. Pretty soon we're not going to have any berries left at all to bring to the next island. So I sure hope those bunnies come out to play today. But I think there was a little morsel of a root way out here, right? Yeah, just off to your side, Winterberry. So you could go ahead and scoop that up for us? Show Storm how it's done, I guess. And that reminds me too, if he's going to be the only creature left with a digging paw, then he's actually going to be our only grave digger as well. So Adam's family is going to have to learn to accept this little Berryina baby, because he might just be the only one who can set their ancestors to rest. He might have a bit of a menacing face, but his job is very, very pure. So Winterberry, I suppose you should probably stay here for the night. Since again, Ash can't go too far, Goldfinch can only flutter on top of this little bunny burrow right here. That means that she's going to be passing right here too. We could bring her over here so she could pick up a little bit more of this grass, but that's basically the extent of her turn. It's too bad that she can't make her way all the way over to Falcon, and in fact I'm sure he's a little bit too busy clearing up grass over here to go back anyways. So he's going to miss his own mate passing too. Oh, and it looks like we have some more bunnies out here. Yeah, there is no way that he would pass up a meal like that. He knows this is the perfect opportunity for Adam to do a little bit of hunting. So let's have you swoop over here. Hopefully we can have Falcon light up the way for you. Assuming that one of the bunnies gets a little bit closer, though you may have scared them off with all of your flapping around. I guess they probably heard your wings beating in the darkness, even though you're hiding in the grass right now. So it seems like it's going to be harder than you thought, Nukier, to find any little morsel. Oh, there you go, perfect, Lark. So Nukier definitely can't go charging down the shore right now. It would be awfully fitting, though, if he tried. I mean, we already know from experience that he really hates these shores. They're too hot on his heat body, so it causes him to struggle. And aside from that, the ocean is just a little bit too scary. But his hesitation only means that Lark has already been able to swoop in and grab the rabbit. So as he tiptoes quietly around the shores, he's going to be a little bit heartbroken that his plan didn't turn out so well. I wonder if maybe we could lead them together, though? I mean, it would be the perfect time for them to share a little meal together. Maybe if we bring Lark up here, she can light up the way? Oh, and right next to another permanent nest, really? Right next to the ports, too. Yeah, you know, I think these two might be a little bit closer than we first figured. So if we gently scoot Lark back into the nest over here, maybe we can have Nuclear settle down right on top of these cliffs. That way he'll be able to pick up the bunny meat on the next turn, and the two of them can share a nice romantic meal together. Then maybe we can consider having a baby between them, though we will have to make sure that their mutation menu is set up correctly. I think, like I said, I am going to put the nimble fingers in her mutation menu. We'll make this be our gathering branch. That way we don't have to worry about the wings on Nuclear, and instead we can focus on that really awful fertility. So the high fertility for you, and we'll finish off by filling up Lark's mutation menu with both of the nimble fingers. Then I guess we'll probably want to try to keep the purr snout on her babies. Since Falcon's side of the family only has the poison fangs, somebody is going to have to be a healer around here. So yeah, to try to override the derp snout, let's go ahead and place the purr snout into his second slot. I know that does leave a couple of rather unfortunate traits. Hemophilia, we do have the short-sighted eyes too, but Lark's eyesight is perfect, so we should still have some good seeing babies from her. Now Storm, I wonder if maybe you could go toddling down the pathway here? You know that there are plenty of roots off in the distance, and I guess you're going to have to find one to bury Ash anyways. His own aunt, though he didn't know her very well. Let's go ahead and clear out the grass right here, that way he'll be able to use this root on the next turn. And then right after that, he's going to have to bury his own mother too. Geez, things are really not going so well for you, little guy. Your friend is far off performing his own duties in the grasses, learning to hunt, learning to defend the tribe. He has such a big destiny too, maybe he doesn't even have time to make friends right now. As much as he wishes that he could just give it all up and play with you, maybe things will be different when we finally get to Adam's Island. After we settle in, and after we meet the family of course, maybe then it'll be easier for our babies to just kick back and play. But our last remaining oracle has officially passed, so we're no longer following any of the oracle's spirits anymore. It's just Adam and his ancestors, and that is going to be quite a change for our tribe. The oracles have been with us for generations now, ever since the 100th episode, I believe. So it's sad to see them go, but I'm sure that that gift is going to pop up again sometime in the future. Now, little Goldfinch, you can finally flutter off to be with your family too. And since he was a little bit more connected to the oracle side of things, what with his lack of stripes and all, I wonder if maybe he's going to be the one to carry those stories in his heart. He spent such a long time with his mother too, and he didn't really even get to know his father, so I suppose that would make sense. Now let's have you come over here. That'll lead the way to even more roots. Like a literal pathway of roots over here. Isn't that strange? Like a ring of roots, almost like a fairy ring or something. I don't know what's going on there, but at least it'll help us gather our last bit of food. So Winterberry might as well let Storm do the job this time. He can go ahead and dig up this root right here, setting poor Ash's remains to rest. Performing that age-old ritual and ensuring that she's going to be able to pass on peacefully. Now I guess we could bring Winterberry up here, just to grab one last root for her family. That way they'll be able to take that little bit of extra food too, because she does have that extra digging paw. Then we can bring you over here, Storm. Go ahead and grab this one right next to your mother's root. Again, a little bit of family bonding between these two, so at least they can say they spent some time together. We'll have Goldfinch clear out the grass here as well. Gosh, it almost makes me wonder if maybe Storm and Goldfinch are going to be better friends than he and Adam. Oh, do you think that would spark a little bit of jealousy? He thought that Storm was his best friend, but because he hasn't had time to play with him, now he's seeking company in his brother instead. The crown is very, very heavy on our poor little ambassador. He has so many duties to perform and he's still so young too. But Falcon is willing to bear a little bit of that burden for you, at least until you set off on those ports. So I think you may have lost your chance to catch those bunnies. I'm not sure where they ran off to. I guess they probably must be somewhere down here by the shore. They have done a very good job of escaping. Well, I guess the most we could do is just bring Adam right here. We'll have him clear out the grasses behind him too, and you guys can just lay in wait for now. Listen around perhaps, because you're much better at hearing. Maybe there's still a chance for one bunny before you leave. But there is one hunter here who managed to take a bunny down already, so go ahead and scoop up that bunny meat for us, Nuke here. And then we'll have you two finally breed. Oh, excellent. It must be meant to be. If we actually had a baby on that first turn, I mean, both of them are carrying the infertile traits. So there is the possibility that their baby could be completely infertile too. That would be a very unfortunate turn of events, so we'll just have to cross our fingers from here. But Nuke here, why don't you come on over to this side, because it looks like you even have easy access to one of these berry bushes too. I hope that your baby is going to have the nimble fingers. You might not be able to teach them very well because this berry bush is so bare right now, but it would still be a very important gift. So once again, let's go ahead and skip the day, and unfortunately say goodbye to Winterberry this time, as she passes away too. I guess it's a good thing that she was so close to Goldfinch as well, so in a way she was still watching after the Sky Pirates, the next generation of Sky Pirates as it were. She's probably very happy to know that her own son has made such good friends with them too. He'll be there to watch their backs. So luckily you have this one root right next to you, Storm. You might as well go ahead and dig that up right away. Set your mother's remains to rest, and then it's just a matter of getting you guys to the rest of the tribe. We might actually be ready to start setting up on those ports. I mean, look at this. Adam II, you have your third gem and everything. I mean, I would say this is the perfect time to pass on those bluebird feathers, but I also want to see if you could just grab one little bunny. I mean, that would show Falcon for sure that you are ready to lead this tribe. If you know how to hunt bunnies, then you can do basically anything. Ah, there we go. The nimble fingers are on this baby. And he has that beautiful white mane too. Unfortunately, no purse now. He looks just like his father, but he's still pretty cute. He almost reminds me of a little chipmunk or something. Now, since Falcon's side of the family has also been naming their babies after birds and whatnot, maybe this would be our opportunity to keep Adam's old ways in the family. We could have Lark name him just Vanu. And he has a pretty cute name for him too. So little Vanu is going to be the one to provide the tribe with all of their berries. So try your best to teach your son how to pick the berries for us. Oh, and it's your final day too? Oh, Nukier, your last chance to show your son how it's done then. Well, Lark, go ahead and pick up the grass around you. I guess you had your family with him just in time. And little Vanu will be a great way for you to remember the old grump. I only wish that he might have inherited some form of pattern, but it looks like he does have the mask in his inactive traits. Yeah, that must be from Nukier. So you have quite a bit of your father's influence in you, and something tells me you're going to be just as grumpy as him too. So go ahead and clear out the way for your family. We might even have you scoot on back here, that way you can light up even more of this land for us. Though that's not really going to help you with your bunny hunting mission. You know what, Falcon? Swoop on down here for us, okay? Let's sniff around again. Are the bunnies still there? Still right underneath that coconut tree. If you could just light up the area a little bit more. Ooh, the bunnies are on the move now. You are so, so close, Adam. If only somebody could maybe swoop on top of this palm tree. Actually, if you jump down here, your father might be able to do that. Yes, and it looks like this bunny might actually be stunned from the coconut. Alright, this is the perfect opportunity then. Go ahead and lunge for the bunny. Poisoning it and everything too. And then we can have you scoot over here because I don't want you to get hit on the head with the coconut next. That would set us back by quite a few days. So if there were ever a time for you to pass on those bluebird feathers, I guess it actually would be right now. We'll change Falcon back to the rank of a beta, and then we'll tuck those bluebird feathers right behind his ear, performing yet another age-old tradition, passing the bluebird feathers to a creature who might just be the last new leader in this series. So let's make sure that your brother is catching up to you too, and Storm as well, of course. I guess we could bring Goldfinch right over here, and you can help out Storm this time. Go ahead and knock down all of that grass with your mighty Megalosaurus horns. Maybe he's even learned a thing or two from Storm too. We'll have Storm weave his way through the grasses, coming up right beside Nuke here. Maybe he can even sense that he's about to pass. So let's sniff around to make sure that we have some roots to use over here. Oh my gosh, right next to the nest, right next to the berry bush. Yeah, this is definitely the one that we want you to dig up for him, okay? There's no better place for us to bury the old grump. So I think it's going to take 2 more turns before we're ready to set off for the next island. Because of course little Vanu is a little bit too young to toddle onto the ports right now, though he is so close. Come on over here to mark off that route for us, and we'll have Storm gently slink his way around. He can paw at the earth, allowing the entire family to take part in this ritual, setting one last elder to rest on this island. I guess it's kind of sad if you think about it. Like, they were so close to getting to Adam's Island, but some of them just couldn't make the rest of the journey. At least they know that their stories will still live on, if just in the hearts of their children. So Adam, you are clearly going to be the one to land your feet on those ports first. Let's have you go ahead and gather up the bunny meat that you collected. One last snack to take with you on the journey. Then you can flutter on over here, set up right in the middle, right in front of that traveling port. And tomorrow morning, you guys will be ready to finally set sail. Now, I'm sure you guys have noticed that we only have 4 creatures in this generation who would be able to go with us. We have Adam, we have Vanu, we have Storm, and we have Goldfinch. So that's leaving 1 creature out on these ports. And I think we're actually going to take Lark with us. She's the youngest of the siblings, and she has her son to watch after too, so she probably wouldn't want to leave the baby all alone. And then of course there's the fact that she would be our only remaining female, so just in case we only find males on Adam's Island, we should probably consider a backup plan of some sort. She even has the purr snout too, so that means that she'll be able to take care of anybody's wounds. But that also means that you, Falcon, are going to be the only creature left behind on this island. You and you alone stuck on the crossing island with these spirits of all of your tribe mates. To be honest, I don't know which one would be worse, passing away before you could get to the island, or being forced to stay behind as your entire family leaves without you. It is a very valiant sacrifice though, and to be honest, I feel like he knows that his time is basically numbered here. He has passed on the mission straight into Adam's capable wings. So all of his hopes and dreams are going with him too. Now I think we'll leave Lark right there for 1 extra turn, just so she can gently nudge Vanu onto the ports on the next turn too. And when he grows a 2nd gem, I think we're actually going to give him a combination of gems between his father and his mother, just to show that he's part of a different branch of the family. Maybe we'll change the middle gem over to the orange color of Adam's family, but we'll leave the 2 on the outside green. So I guess we're ready to skip the day again? You know, 1 last time on this island, and then we will finally be ready to set sail. We will finally be ready to go to Adam's Island. The mission is nearly complete. And it looks like Vankir approves too. Look at this, we're just about to leave, and he finally gives us 1 more grand harvest. So Vanu, I guess you could dip your nimble fingers in and grab a few of those berries for us. It's not all of them, but at least it's something, and it'll be a great way to remember your father too. I wonder if he would even grab 1 little branch from the tree maybe? 1 little branch from the bush rather? Kind of like how Adam's family has always used the bluebird feathers to remember him by. Vanu could keep that little twig with him at all times. Now Storm, We'll have you tuck yourself in right between the two brothers too, but not before grabbing a little bit of extra food yourself. Settle down right here. We'll give Goldfinch his very funnel gem as well, and you two look like such imposing figures, with those big bodies and those wings. It's kind of funny that Storm is such a small creature. I mean, he almost looks like the runt of the tribe. Is he actually the only creature who has the normal body? I think he might be. Even Vanu has the big body too, so despite that menacing appearance, that menacing snout, that's basically the only terrifying feature that he has going for him. So everybody is on the ports now. Oh my gosh, you guys. Falcon, now's your chance. Just go ahead and try to crack open some of these coconuts for us again. And you know we have to do it. One time before we leave, let out that mournful cry. Say one final goodbye to your family, because the time has finally come. So this is not going to be the last episode, guys. We still do have quite a bit to explore on Adam's Island, but I do want to at least see it with our own eyes before we end out today. So that means, Adam, it's time for you to do it. Go ahead and set the traveling into motion. Oh, Homecoming, the achievement just popped in the corner. I don't think you guys will be able to see that, but that means that we're in the right place for sure. We have made it to Adam's home island. Oh my gosh. Pink trees. Oh my gosh, how gorgeous are those? If only we could see them in the daylight. We might actually have to skip another day then, but wait a second first. Home? This place seems familiar. Could it be? This is the place where Adam, your very first animal, was born. You managed to find your way back home. The inhabitants of this island sniff the air and chirp at you happily. A long-lost part of their family has finally returned. You are home. Yes, so because we kept the home island gene, that means that Adam's family should be able to recognize us too. So everybody who has the home island gene in their immunities is going to be accepted happily by Adam's family. Oh, does that mean that you, Storm? Oh, you're the only one that they're not going to want to talk to. You and your bear Yenis now just too menacing for them. He is going to feel like such an outsider here. Well, we have to at least sniff around and see if we can find anything before we end this episode. Just see if anybody else might be lurking around the ports. They can hear that gleeful chirping off in the distance, but right now they can't see anybody yet. So Adam the Second, you better make our first steps, huh? We'll have you flutter out into the open. You can't get very far right now because it's so dark. Oh, but the first little baby is here already. Oh, he's the most curious of the bunch. He must be very curious, actually, seeing those wings on you. And if he is only a one-gemmed baby, then he's probably heard the stories. Yeah, you're not supposed to let yourself get too close to the bluebirds, huh? Well, there's no need to be frightened. I know we look a little bit scary, but we're not going to harm you one bit. Oh my gosh. Oh, 2 of Adam's family already? You must be his big sister, huh? Isaname? Well, that's a very pretty name. Oh, and she has the round ears in her inactive traits. Yes, isn't that the special gene to Adam's home? Van Kukir, the original little baby that we saw, unfortunately doesn't have the round ears in his genetics. But that's still mighty curious. I wonder if anybody else out here is going to have the round ears completely, not just stepped away somewhere in their inactive traits. Well, can we offer you guys a bit of food to gain your trust? Yeah, we can either offer 5 pieces of food to join the tribe, or of course attack, but that's not what we're here for. So Adam, why don't you try to make friends with this little baby first? Oh, a family reunion. Van Kukir, our first member of Adam's family officially joining our tribe. So it's clear that we still do have a lot of exploring to do on this island, and that's why I'm not ready to end this series just yet. I think we're going to have at least one more episode, one more story to tell as we track down the rest of Adam's family here. But like I said in the last episode, I'm still planning on starting a new series with this family as soon as the newest update is out of testing, or once all of the major bugs have been ironed out first. So I hope you guys are looking forward to seeing the end of this journey. But for now, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye guys!